Hello, hello. I know this is part number 4 of this session, and we are turning towards the Divine Masculine now. So if you haven't watched the other parts, I would really recommend doing that, okay? Otherwise, it wouldn't make so much sense. And yeah, please do so. And for everyone else, hi, I'm back. And downloads and channeling is crazy before I even started, and I have to kind of catch up with all the voices in my head. And first thing before I forget, you remember the nail polish here, right? The heart, and with the wax and all this thing. It was gone in the morning. And when I recognized it, I heard clearly in my voice, your name is sealed in scroll. What was it? See, I'm already forgetting. Wait, your name is sealed in scroll. Really? Yeah, scroll. That's kind of the ancient paper and heavenly scrolls, right? So yeah, it is about this justice, and it is about names being cleared, right? We even have a name channeled on the table. It fall down with the wax and on this justice card. And I was again reminded of the angel I read to you. And yeah, I want to really encourage you to pray. Like, pray over your name, speak over your name, speak protection over your name. And I mean, it's done like all around this recording here. I never had that so strongly, that I was drawn like crazy to angels and prayers, and I was reciting prayers really literally after each reading here, after each session and in between. And at night, you know, when I usually relax, I was called to sit and pray for hours. So it's crazy. And this morning again, I woke up and all around my head, just prayers, you know, just prayers. I'm channeling prayers, and I don't even know them, right? It's crazy. So angelic protection is immense. And when I was, what was I even doing? Yeah, I was putting the light in there, and all the angel hair here came down with me. And even with the star, the sea star, he fall. Can you see where he's falling at? Right at this karmic space we spoke about so long last session, with Archangel Camiel helping you, going in this underworld area. See, and now it just fall down there like that on this dark ground. So this is what's healed, and this is why you're now sealed, right? It's like the underworld is sealed. And there is another reading. It came through in my mind, I guess, already in the first session here as a reminder, or in the second maybe, you know, parts here of this session. It's a long one, I know, so this is why I make parts, and I channel it just all more or less in a row, right? So, but yeah, with some breaks. So now it's a new day. And yeah, and I had a little interaction with my Divine Masculine too, where I really addressed the necessity to pray and the necessity to cleanse the environment. So this is what's going on over here. I know that already. So very important. And that's literally, that's the Divine Masculine's journey, is to cleanse their environment, because, you know, their spiritual journey goes literally through the lower chakras. It's not that they have to leave the lower chakras and finally come join us in the higher chakras. No, actually, totally not, but their strength is to cleanse these lower chakras, and they are mostly, they are very rooted in their environment, and in other lifetimes they would be, royalty or warriors, or protectors, just protectors mostly, and like guards, guards. And as a guard, you have sworn loyalty to wherever you are, and they need to understand that where their loyalty needs to be, right? First it needs to be with God, and then, and they need to understand that their divine feminine, their source, is what they are here to protect, of course. And in the beginning of the journey, their ego runs havoc, right? And they protect themselves. They protect their wounded parts. And now we are again reminded of the forgiveness part. And forgiveness, that does not mean to lower standards or values, not at all, because it is all about the values and the standards. It is all about getting the cups even. See that? It's all about you raise your cup and you set, but it's the divine feminine who has to do that. She has to do, she has to set the line, right? And then they have to aim for that. And I already told you, when they first come back, they come again from above, because that's how they were raised, right? Like, be the strong one. And I will speak about that in a minute, about some trauma issues, trauma responses. I shall explain that a little bit. But yeah, I'm still having my tea, and it's very early morning, and so but I have to just start recording, otherwise I wouldn't be able to, 717 it was, right now. So otherwise I wouldn't be able to get it all out. Because channeling has started already. So and I had planned to go in the bathtub actually for a few hours to really enhance my protection. That's the safest place to be if you feel spiritual attacks are crazy. Just go into the water. Bathe into your cup, right? That's the safest place to be. And confirmed with the starfish there. And it's for regeneration, of course, just perfect. And so where were we with the forgiveness, right? It's just that we need to understand why they act, how they act, and we need to watch through God's eyes, through this unconditional loving lens, how we would also look, if you actually, it's said that twin flames, they are their guardian angels, right? And normally, or what's normal anyway, so in a lot of timelines, one would go into a life, one would embody here, incarnate on earth, and the other would stay in the ether. That's why we feel them so strong also, because that's literally just like the dialogue with the other side, what we are used to. It's this guardian angel dialogue, this this mental and intuitive connection, what we all have, and what brought a lot of divine feminines into spirituality, though they never ever were concerned with that before. And now you're here, and we are so glad, right? I happen to have worked with spirituality and esoteric things and energetic work kind of all my life, but there are really, and for all people who become mediums or channels, there are these moments where it starts, and for some it's really a loss of a loved one that triggers that, this deep pain, this going deep within. And it's all about going so deep within that you then finally reach beyond, right? It's in the depth. And yeah, and it's referred to also as dark night of the soul, where you really go so deep inwards until you reach your core, like your innermost core. And a twin flame connection, that would be the other side of your core, basically. It's, yeah, same core, right? But everything else is opposite. Very different and mostly opposite. And that's why the amplitude is so high, and that's why this connection, and I'm just speaking of it as the connection, the two of you together, right? The connection is able to hold so huge frequencies and to build such a huge stargate because of this high amplitude. And this is only possible because there is this opposite thing. And so what we dream of, like this super easy soulmate, fluffy connection, right? Where it's just about caring because the other one just gets you and they are so similar and all that. That's not what's happening in a twin flame connection. Not at all. But it's still, of course, equally, not higher or lower, equally valuable to have and live with soul connections like that. And we do have a lot of soul connections also within our family and friends, right? And even at work sometimes. And I mean a lot of the time. So, hi, by the way, if you consider yourself soul family, I love you. And yeah, so where were we? The forgiveness part, yeah. And people get that really wrong. So they kind of think I have to forgive the dark deeds, right? And that would mean I say yes to the dark deeds. No, that's not what we are doing with forgiveness. With forgiveness, we just acknowledge that everyone may choose wrong according to some circumstances. And that we ourselves also, I mean, we are all parts, parts. It's law of one, it's parts of consciousness, it's different experiences, different lenses. And as this one consciousness, we want to experience it all, and we want to go through all perspectives, right? And this, yeah, and it's all about these turns, and there are some moments where you turn away from the light, and then there are moments where you turn towards the light, and sometimes it's even toxic to go too close to the light, right? There is really balance that's needed. And yeah, but the forgiveness part, that's just releasing basically the 3D perspective. If you can forgive, then you really know you are rooted in higher consciousness, you are rooted in higher dimensions. And of course, there is also a shift. I have that within me a lot, that when I'm totally tuned into higher consciousness, I can forgive, everything super. But when I'm tuned into my human self, which is also so necessary to do that, to essentially work through these parts and to release these traumatic events, then of course I feel it extra strong and I feel it extra hard. And then it's even difficult to not get super angry, right? And it's necessary, of course, to be angry, but to then transmute the anger, I want to say, and not become dark ourselves, right? And so it's super important to feel that. I'm not saying ignore the darkness and just love light, peace forever, and forgive everything just so, no. But what I'm saying is the past is a place to learn from and not a place to be in, not a place to live in forever. And that's a mind prison. And traumatic events cause mind prisons, and that's what we will hear about on this side. I know that already. So this is a lot about mind prison, and they went there. But yeah, and it's crucial that we, as the divine feminine, as this water being, right, can go back to pure water. We had this card, it's not here anymore, but the first card we got from my manifestation deck, it was about this instant manifestation and the pure heart. Let me see where it is. Yeah, it's right here. And I will read it again, right? It was this card here. And it says, instant manifestation. Your essence is so potent now that things will literally manifest out of thin air. And yeah, of course, if everything is cleared, then things really pop up, which seem to be impossible for years, ages, centuries, right? They can pop up immediately because name is cleared, because everything is free, right? And your name is listed somewhere already for new contracts, right? That's what that was about, what I was channeling. New contracts are already met in heaven. And you would feel that if that resonates, right? So, manifest out of thin air. Keep up the good work. Yes, please do that. And pray a lot, right? And cleanse. And so keep up the good work, sorry. And the frequency of your heart pure. See what I mean? The frequency of your heart pure. That's the very thing. We need that. We need the purity. This kind of purity. And yes, here's a little damage happened, right? You see that. There is damage. But this damage can regrow. And I know how crazy that is with these counterpart connections, because normally if someone damages us, we just turn away and go away, right? We just go away and we don't even care about them because they were the bad guys and they have hurt us, right? That's normal. But in these connections where we are forced through the heavenly connection, and I want to say that again, it's a divine link, it's a divine connection. So we are forced to stay connected through that very pain. 555 right now. And if you think about that, there must be a reason for that, right? So what I found out is, the reason is, of course, that we are here to cleanse this fucking karma, right? We are here to transmute that, and we are here to push it out, not only out of our own justice, scroll, karmic board, but also out of the collective subconsciousness. I mean, who do you think you are? Do you think you are, a nobody that, and what you go through doesn't count? No, that's not the case. Everything, 639 right now, everything we feel, we think, gets poured into collective consciousness. And this collective here is a strong leading couple, right? And so we pave ways to feel, ways to think the unthinkable, ways to experience the impossible. It's all, in the end, of course, it's about manifesting paradise and heaven, but it has a lot to do in these complicated connections with purging out the pain. And if you think just about the collection, yes, the collection of lives in this connection, right? All the other lifetimes, let's call them past lives, right? It's easier from the human perspective to, though time isn't linear, but it's easier to see that way maybe. And you see, oh yeah, back then, we weren't allowed to be together because of that, because of status, because of racial differences, whatever it is. And so now you incarnate and you have some things in your field of experience, I'm called to say it, name it, your field of experience in this incarnation, right? There are triggers, and all these triggers reach into the past lives. Remember the feathers we had here? This is kind of what's channeled through the remembrance of past life pain, the remembrance of other wounds. And let's say they betrayed you in some way or another, which for sure they did, right? They betrayed the connection somehow. Otherwise, we wouldn't be needing to go through a phoenix moment, right? It wouldn't be necessary to burn it all down to ashes, but it's meant to rise. And so these triggers and the pain you feel and the pain you are not allowed to escape of by divine order, right? It's kind of an assignment. You are assigned to this particular piece of pain, and you have signed up freely before this incarnation. You wanted to experience that because you thought you can handle that, and you thought you can do that. So yes, you can do that. You can handle that. 9/11, Michael, Archangel Michael. He says you are protected, and you can, through that, through that, you are absolutely not alone, because it's a big deal. It really is. It's a big assignment to go through this kind of pain. Because this kind of pain, it's not only what you have experienced with them right now in this incarnation, but it is linked to a past life experience. So you you totally tune into pain, which is stored in your DNA, which is stored in your cellular memory, in your body, right? Stored, and constrains you, restrains you since back then, right? Because, unfelt pain, unreleased pain, it freezes us, and it makes us smaller, it constricts us, it limits us. And so if you felt like it's unbelievable heavy pain coming out there, yes, that's because it's the pain of a lifetime, and not only of one lifetime. It's multiple lifetimes, multiple lifetimes of pain and deep things. Remember with the bad mouthing thing and the feathers, it's underneath here now, but I'm told to get out another tarot. And just let's look again at past life pain. Ooh, interesting. Father wounds, maybe. I mean, this does not look painful, but I asked for pain, right? So this means this wasn't given. So they couldn't give to you for some reason, or you yourself weren't able. Oh, wow. We are getting all the good cards, but it kind of came like this. Yes. So the good cards, yes. And yes, so that was stolen. See what I mean? It's all about... Wow. Wow. I mean, if you ever wanted to have a confirmation, they just sprang out of the deck like that. And it's the very same cards that are already on the table, right? Wow. So they will give to you. And King of Coins, that's just a beautiful, nurturing energy, right? This is, I mean, we know that Emperor and Empress, they are the ones, we are speaking about here, the divine counterparts. But we all have a strong suit and a weaker suit. And the problem was, what I was feeling with this side here, with our divine masculines, was that they were retreating from their emotional self, from their you know, natural giving heart, they were retreating into King of Swords mode, like totally cold, right? To protect their heart. And this is actually how a man should treat a woman, just like very, I know, sounds, you know, but that's biology even. That's biology, right? Think about that. In biology, let's think tribal, right? Let's think ancient. Then you would be together to build a family, right? Build a family. And the divine feminine is at home. And she creates blessings like the whole day, right? She cares for the kids and she sews the clothes and she cooks the meals and all that, you know, while he is out hunting and bringing his pentacles home. He brings them home. His skills, his, you know, everything, you know, his fame even, his status. It all comes back home in the tent where, yes, also, you know, Native Americans, they would, you know, earn their feathers and then they would be placed there. And so status is a real thing also, you know, in every culture. And I don't know why status come through right now, but yeah, for some reason, that's what I'm channeling. And I feel status, that's, I mean, it makes sense, you know, in all these timelines where people wouldn't choose their love and they would keep them like kind of hidden, you know, even plant their seeds, even have children, but not legitimate children, if that's the correct wording. Legitimate, I guess it is. Like the name isn't, you know, the children couldn't carry their name. So this is definitely a timeline here. And this, of course, depletes, you know, and I mean, it's just awful, right, to be in a situation like that. And to be totally excluded actually from the life the man lives, who should be the husband at your side and pouring into you daily. And that's what they usually do, right? Pouring in, bringing their pentacles home. And this is kind of the last stage before Emperor stage is this King of Pentacles, I feel, because it takes more time, soul-wise also, to develop these pentacle skills. That's the slowest energy, right? And so it's one thing to be able to act, but it's another thing to be able to be consistent. I mean, we know that, right? Not everyone can do that. And the love language, acts of service, that's even more acts of service than gift giving, right? That's totally this total devotion, like on a daily basis, and totally securing the space and doing all the little things that are necessary to sustain a life. And these lives, they were stolen from you like 10 times. We had the 10 skills here. And now they want to come back tenfold and heal that. Yes. So let's see. So they want to make it right. And now let's read again what was here underneath it, because that was on their side of the scale, you know, that was the divine masculine dark message here. I am used to stay in control through having the strongest boundaries in the room. Yes, that's why I said King of Swords. That's King of Swords energy. I am used to stay in control through having the strongest boundaries in the room and not give anything away, right? Not give from my heart, not give, not pour in. And why are they doing that? Because they have their own bad experiences too. And biologically, it is the typical horror scenario for a man to be with a not faithful, not truthful wife, and then they would overburden themselves and overwork themselves totally and kind of feed a lot of little ones that aren't even theirs, right? So that's kind of a biological threat for men. That's why jealousy is even a thing. And that's why men even are suspicious of how their wives go through their day, and why the stronger the jealousy problem is within them, the more controlling comes at place, the more all this technology also gets rooted here, where we have observant technology sometimes. And even in schools, that's, I feel, very unhealthy, because there must be a respect also for a teacher-student relationship, and not every daddy should, be able to remote view every sentence his son has said, and maybe every mistake. Maybe sometimes, we need to give someone the grace to learn, and we need to, but as I said, that's a control issue. And with all the forgiveness stuff, I'm not saying, yeah, okay, now we understand that, why they are like that and where they are coming from. And so now we allow them controlling behavior. Of course not, right? Of course not. That, please don't get me wrong. That's never what I would encourage, to put up with unhealthy behavior. And controlling is a thing that needs to be burned down totally. Like, you totally have to show up super strong, right? Like, no BS with me. Ooh. Yeah, so you actually shall mirror that energy. So if they come with this behavior at you, mirroring is always a good method. So then you put up with these boundaries, and then you are like, nope, sorry, bro, not at this place, all right? I do want to ask if there's anything else that wants to be mentioned. This kind of fall. Ooh, yeah. Devil. Of course, yes. Yes, of course. So this tells us a lot of things, right? Of course, these connections are always under attack. And this is why we even have to wrap this reading so strongly into prayer. And I mean, I have sometimes in my life, especially when I'm shifting, like big time shifting, when something is about to happen, then I feel how protection thickens. And it really feels like the air is so thick, not sick, but thick, that you think you can really, slice it in pieces. But that's, of course, so that nothing can pierce through, actually. So I absolutely feel that. And you can do that if you feel also that really something wants to come through here. You can really wrap your house and wrap yourself in prayer and protection. And there are some things on YouTube for sure where you can call in archangels to protect your home and place them at the corners. And I just felt that, I just felt that is the case for me and my kid too. So yeah. And also, of course, family, close family, if they are really close and trustworthy, 144 right now, they also help with protection because they carry your DNA, right? So, yeah. So you fought that, right? You fought that battle. And I guess it's mirrored, and I guess they fought that battle too. And we will see in a minute where they are at. I have no idea myself, because they are not that talkative mostly. Oh, I was shuffling again and asking for another card, and yeah, he's there again. I don't know what we shall do with them, but maybe we put it with as a reminder with a pure heart, right? I mean, they clearly say it's, I mean, what you have battled, that's big, right? That's big. And you really should watch the reading about you cut your soul free out of the underworld. And there was something with the devil too, where we really put him. I don't know if this is a good idea, what I'm doing here. Let me think about that. Huh. By the way, ooh. Ah. Okay, yeah. By the way, higher chakras. I don't know if you know that there are higher chakras, but there are, right? And the tarot, it's 22 actually, and the tarot cards are happening to be also 22. And yes, of course, it's ancient esoteric knowledge, and yes, of course, it's linked. And this very energy, number 15, higher chakra, number 15, is the divine father chakra, the divine father portal. Wow. And I'm called to explain that. So, and also I need to explain that the tarot cards, you know, literally everything has a little bit of a distortion in it every now and then. And I just split the deck and we have this scenario. So yeah, you know, we are healing here, strength, learning to give, right? Learning to unfold this energy. So we are of course not there yet. I mean, they, right? But they know and they are learning, okay? Because they understand that this is you, okay? That's beautiful. So, and you know, the eldest tarot decks, like known, they were drawn in Italy, late Middle Ages, right? Or Middle Ages, not that late, right after the pestilence there. And some cards from the very first, they got lost. Actually, they got lost. And they were ordered to be repainted. And one of those cards is the devil card. And so we actually have no idea how the original devil card looks like. I just wanted to put that out there. So, and then, you know, every deck kind of picked up on that. And in that very depiction, there was, yeah, a devilish looking picture. I do have actually, let me just get that. So here it is. So this is the Visconti Tarot, the eldest, and you can look that up at Wikipedia or wherever, and it's called Visconti Tarot, but there are it's some multiple kind of, but it was yeah, ordered from a family, you know, from one of the richest families there. And I think this is, and they also were very spiritually knowledgeable. And it's said that the female pope Joanne, that she came from that very family. So there is a lot of deep spiritual truth woven in the beginnings of even the creation of tarot decks. And this is this first devil card. And, you know, speaking about attachments, I think it's a great card. And later they took, you know, Pan as the depiction. And Pan, 111 right now, Pan speaks, of course, about the abundance of earth and how the gates of abundance are opening, you know. And the positive meaning of the devil card is to indulge in abundance, of course, and to... And by the way, I'm not a fan of the modern assignment of astrology, because if we think about that, what I just said, it's more a Libra card, right? And not so much Capricorn, because what Capricorn does is really asserting discipline within himself, and it's never about overindulging with a Capricorn. So I just don't get it. I haven't researched yet who found that out, but there are, of course, also a variety of astrology assignments, and that's always only one person who sat there, just a person like you and I want to say, right? Someone sat there and thought, well, this card reminds me of, and then they assigned it. And you can do that for yourself too, and you should. If you do tarot, you should have an intimate interaction and communication and even relationship with these cards. And you have to make them your own, you know, because it's the dialogue with the divine. It's your language. It's your... And everyone has a little bit of a different understanding of everything, and that's great. And always when I'm listening to a reading, and the very minute when I'm thinking like, what are they saying? That's so not at all the meaning of that card. The next sentence I get that I was totally meant to get that message, because in the next sentence they would say something which explains my situation perfectly. And so with spirituality, and especially with divination, and my guides told me that like a million times, it's not at all 333 about being fully correct. That's a human BS thing. But it is always about how you, as the listener, as the receiver, would receive the message best, so that you can get the most out of it. It's when we look from heaven, right? Understand that. When we look from the perspective of a spirit guides, what do they want you to do? They want you to grow as quickly and easily as possible. They don't want you to be the most correct person on earth. Not at all. That's absolutely of non-interest if you are correct or not. But it is of all interest for the world that you grow. Right? Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And I myself, you know, I love to dig deep and study and find things out, like with this devil card and with, a lot of things. But still, when I sit down and read, I always read intuitively, of course, and this is just a means of communication. So in my mind, in my head, the guides are speaking, or my higher self is speaking and explaining what they want to say, what they want to point out. It's not what I want to point out, but what they want to point out right now. Right? And in every reading, every card has a different meaning. And I'm reading tarot since I'm 16, and that's quite a long time, I can tell you. And still, you know, it's always different, because I'm mainly channeling and I'm just tuning in, and that's like a window into soul. And of course, I refer to king energy as an active energy because that's just how it is, these simple things, or numerology in the tarot, that's of course something I kind of always use, but what the whole picture, what comes out of it, that's always specific, always. And when you are listening to a reading, it's your job as a viewer always to put your own intuition even on top of that. And so there is no need to argue in the comments if this means that or this, because it's just important what it means for you. That's it. And if you got your message, then it's great. And if the King of Pentacles means something very specific for you, right? Maybe this card came out in a few readings and someone said, oh, this is your person. And so you now the whole time are sitting there and saying, well, that's just them. Stupid reader, right? I mean, great for you to know, right? I'm happy for you. But I want to mention really, and I shall stress that no matter which archetype your person was embodying before, maybe he was more a King of Cups energy or whatever, they are learning this energy. They are moving into that, and we do have that right here, with the feather, with the angelic protection, and with that. But this also is on our side, right? Divine feminine side. And right underneath it, it's written, you're more powerful than you realize. It's safe for you to be powerful. So that also makes me think of money vows, right? Poverty vows. And the fear of mingling spirituality and money, which is just also some attachments to be released. To be released, really. This needs to be like that again, because it's just, rooted in earth. And this also has just something to do with magnetism. I know it's not well like to turn the pentacle around, and I don't want to do that kind of for a long time here. But see, we also have one upright right here. So we're good, right? We are safe. And the pentacle, that's just us, right? That's human protection. But sometimes, and all what was coming through right now about, misinterpretation of things, that's kind of hangman energy. And I saw the hangman peeking through in the deck here. Now he's gone, of course. But sweet, they are coming through again. Yay! Happy family. Yeah. But so, yeah. And the hangman energy, that is where we tune in higher consciousness and receive knowledge that isn't coming from us, right?